get with this.
Or you could get with that.
You could get with this.
Or you could get with that.
You can get with this.
Or you could get with that. But if you get with this,
you will get rid of that.
all right, now let's get this ground cover down. We're not trying to grow an abundance of weeds. We are trying to grow an abundance of food. Yes, food. But in any case, you all, if you can't grow an abundance of food, we're always talking about buying your food in bulk. Which brings us to today's sponsor, which is Azure Standard. As you know, we are always promoting the benefits of buying your food in bulk if you can't grow enough to sustain your family. So we always suggest shopping with Azure Standard. You can buy your tomatoes in bulk, your onions in bulk, your bell pepper in bulk. There are so many things that you can buy in bulk. If you can't grow your groceries, well, go ahead and buy them and buy the best that you can, right? If you're new to Azure Standard, use our link in the description box below and that discount code so that you can save off of your purchase with Azure Standard. And even if you're not new to Azure Standard, but you've been shopping with them for as long as we have, you can still use our link in the description box below, and that lets Azure know that Homestead Heart sent you. So remember, y'all, if you can't grow all of your groceries, well, you can buy them as well, and buy them from Azure Standard. Now let's get back to getting this ground cover down.
Right. Welcome back to Homestead Heart. So y'all see two different styles of weeding. You can either not use ground cover or you can use ground cover.
I'm over it. We just getting into the garden season, and we've had multiple days of rain and all of that. And when it rains, you can't come out here and really work the garden, right? So the weeds grow twice as fast, and if it's raining every day, oh my goodness, that you come out here, it's like a jungle.
Yeah, and then when you try to weed with these tools that we have, these tools right here,
The stirrup hoe and the regular garden hoe.
these tools right here, they'll give you a workout. I mean,
Yeah.
your whole day be gone just by weeding.
Right.
Pulling, bending over, you know.
Right.
And then you don't have a chance to do anything else.
That's true. The whole day is weeding, right?
Yeah.
So no, we don't want to do this this thing here called weeding.
Yeah.
Now some parts we will be weeding, because the way we did the ground cover this year is that we literally just brought it right up to the plants. But right where the plants are located, right in that little strip there won't be any ground cover. So going in there and doing a little bit of weeding there we'll have to do.
Yeah.
But that's not nearly as bad as what it was or what you saw, because literally once the rain stopped and all of that, we were able to come out and get the weeds pulled up. The grass is just taking over.
It took us all day, y'all.
All day to do this.
Took us all day using these tools.
Yeah.
Hey, we can use these tools on a little strip
Yeah.
right next to the plant. That would be good.
That's
but
it.
the whole garden? No, we got bigger and better
We
things
got
to do.
too much to do to be dealing with trying to weed out this entire big garden. The watermelon patch over here, the watermelon patches over there, the smaller garden over there. We don't have time for that, right? So no, we even the corn patch, we're not even done working the corn patch, and it's late, I know.
Yeah.
But we got to get the corn patch worked so we can plant some corn. I know
Yeah.
they say knee high by the 4th of July, but I don't care if it's after the 4th of July, because our experience is it gets so hot around here, it's still growing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, y'all can either get with this Or you can get with that.
Yeah, y'all can get with this.
Yep.
Get with that.
And this is where it's at.
Yeah.
So listen. So save yourself some time and energy and go ahead and invest in your ground cover, you all. Don't buy the cheap ground cover. Go ahead and spend the money and get yourself some good ground cover, because price does make a difference. We have two different kinds of ground cover. We have this one right here, right? And then we have, let me get it.
This makes things so much easier when we got ground cover.
It does.
So much easier.
Now, we got this ground cover from the same place.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mr. H.
Yeah, but this ground cover is used, but...
No, all of it is used except for this one strip. Everything else we put back in the garden from what we've been had. But if you look at this stripe right here, see that reddish orange looking strip down right there? Down the lines, you know, it gives you the 1 foot spacing inside those lines, right? And if you look here, these lines are yellow. They both come from the same place. Grower Solutions is where we got them both from.
Yes.
But this right here is pure trash. And so I don't recommend this, because this literally was a 1 season thing and it's just no good. The weeds are just busting up through it, and it's just not a good quality like this one. This one was more expensive. I was trying to cut corners and save a little bit of money.
but it's not worth it.
It's not worth it at all, because in the long run, we still got to go back and replace that. Yeah. So now we're paying way more than we would have if we would have just purchased this from the get-go, right? We started with this, and then I wanted to get something less expensive, so I got that. Bad idea. Yeah. So going forward, I'm going to get the good ground cover there. We are not affiliated with them in any way, but that's where we got our ground cover from. Yeah. Now, one year we did get our ground cover from HomeDepot.com, and it was the same thing as this right here, but it was less expensive and it was still good quality, right? Yeah. But then Home Depot stopped carrying it. So you got to source it somewhere else, okay? Yeah. But ground cover is it. Typically, you'll want to put your ground cover down before you plant, okay? And then put your little holes where you're going to plant. Add whether your spacings are every 6 inches, every foot, every 2 feet, every 3 feet. You decide, okay? But you'll put your ground cover down first, put your holes in, and then you'll plant inside of the holes. Now, the reason why we did it this way is simply because we revamped our entire garden. We didn't know how we wanted it to look. And once we got everything planted, we said, okay, ooh, it was a bug on me. Once we got...
Yo, you hit that in rhythm though. Woo, it was a bug on me.
So anyway, okay. I'm gonna have to cut that out.
So this ground cover here, it saves a lot of labor.
It does. Oh my goodness. I do not want to have to come back through here and weed this. This was just filled with weeds, as you saw. I think I showed this in the clip, but it was just filled with weeds. And I'm like, no,
we can't do that.
We ain't doing this.
Before you know it, we have weeds all the way up to here.
Sure will, because you just never know. Life happens. And sometimes you can't come out here every 4 or 5 days or once a week. Yeah. And weed the garden, right? What happens if life happens and then on top of that it starts raining? Well, now you might be 2 weeks behind or 3 weeks behind. And like Mr. H said, the weeds will be all the way up to here before you know it. Yeah. So,
especially after it rains. Yeah. You can go outside and you see a whole new different scenario.
It'll look completely different. Like, what happened here?
I'm pretty sure everybody see how fast that grass grow. Yeah. After it rains. Like we got like 3 days or so many days of rain. You come outside and weeds just everywhere. You don't even recognize your own yard.
That's so true. That's so true. Mr. H and I we were walking down the trail coming from, I think, the bee yard, or either we were going up the trail for something. And I was walking by and I said, what is that going on over there? Because we hadn't been out here, right? Yeah. So when I looked, he was like, yeah, we got to weed the garden. I'm like, yeah, we sure do. We sure do. Yeah. So now the one thing I will say for quick weeding, this right here, I love this stirrup hole. I love this. It's good. Because it is easy to weed with. and it gets right underneath the root, so it cuts it underneath the soil surface.
Yeah.
And this one right here, the regular hoe is just good for scraping the top of the surface, killing the weeds, just kind of taking off the tops. But this one gets right underneath the soil line and breaks that connection between the actual leafy growth and the root itself.
Yeah.
So I like this right here, okay? So, but these are your options for weeding your garden. I guess to weed or not to weed,
Yeah,
is the question.
and then to exhaust yourself or not to exhaust yourself
Exactly.
with the ground cover.
If you need to work out, go for it.
Yeah, because I know y'all seen me working out with the sling blade. You know, they
Yeah.
were just, you know,
Some extra stuff.
extra little exercise. But
Yeah.
this right here is a lot more harder.
It's a lot of work, you all.
Woo.
Yeah.
But that ground cover, I tell you.
Yeah. We strongly recommend, especially if you're just now getting a garden in, we strongly recommend that, you know, whatever your garden space is going to be,
Yeah.
we strongly recommend cleaning the area out really, really good. If you have to till it first, smooth it out. Don't till it anymore after this, though. All right. You really want to practice no-till gardening. You want that soil to build, and you want all of that healthy bacteria and microbial life in the soil. You want all of that to stay bonded, connected. You want it to continue to grow. So if you keep disturbing that year after year, you may end up causing yourself some problems. Okay.
Yeah. So the first till is just to get rid of all those weeds and all that tough grass.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and then come back and you can add some stuff, some compost.
Some amendments and stuff. And smooth it out. And then after that, put your ground cover down.
Yeah.
And do that for the whole garden. And then go back and plan where you want your rows at, the spacings you want to burn your holes in. And you're just going to use like a little torch or something to burn a hole, and go from there with your plants. So you can design your garden, but make sure you have something that'll save yourself some work, because for the bulk of us, we have a million other things going on, and we really don't have time to spend hours out in the garden trying to pull out weeds. So our plants don't get choked out by the weeds, right? And we don't want the weeds feeding from the soil amendments that we put in. We want that going directly to our plants. So speaking of soil fertilizing, you all, we are about to fertilize our entire garden, and then we're going to turn the water on so we can water it all in. And I think we're going to call it a day out here in this garden.
And one thing that I learned about, you know, labor, hard work, is that you want to make sure your aisles are wide enough so you can pull.
So true.
You know, because
good point. I love that point.
Yeah,
good point.
Because in the past, you know, the aisles is very narrow. So you see how wide this is. We can get carts down. We can harvest. You know, we got plenty of room.
Yeah.
You know, we designed it like that, so we did. So we won't have to be all crunched up and stuff.
That is true. We didn't want that anymore. If you go back and look at our earlier videos in the garden, you will see our rows were like 18 inches apart, and our garden beds were more so mounded up. And we've since come back and we've changed all of that. Some of our rows, well, you'll see in the garden tour, but this is our main entryway right here.
Yeah.
So because this is our main entryway, this is the widest. This is a 6 foot wide area right here, which is fine because it gives us access to the right and left sides of the garden. If we need to bring something down in to haul in compost or whatever, we got a nice big wide space to do it in.
Yes.
And if we just want to put some chairs out here and just sit down in the garden, we can do that right here as well, right? So, but just make your garden, you want it to be a place where you can grow a lot of food, and you don't want to have to do an overkill job with trying to pull up out all of the weeds and stuff, but make it a place where you're happy when you go out there.
Yeah, and you can enjoy yourself in the garden. You won't be exhausted pulling weeds
all day,
fighting grass.
Right.
You can just enjoy.
Now our main area right here is still a grassy area right behind the camera, but it's wide enough that I can just come in with the ride and mow and just zoop, zoop, and I'm done, right?
Yeah.
And then getting close to the irrigation, Mr. H can come in with our little push mower and just come right up to the drip irrigation line and use the mower for that. So we left the pathways wide enough around the perimeter of the garden so that our mowers can get in, and we're not going to put ground cover down right there.
Yeah.
Right? We're saving it for the main areas of the garden. So yeah, we hope you found the video helpful, you all.
Yeah.
We do have another important topic that we're going to be talking about here in just a few moments while we are out in the garden. So we're probably going to have the same clothes on. So just know that this is why, because we felt like it was something that we wanted to discuss with you, and we didn't want it to wait for another day. So we're going to go ahead and film that topic right now and try to get them both released, okay, so that you all can have access to those videos, and we hope that you will share our videos as well. All right, you know, we're all about trying to help people here on our channel, not necessarily trying to tell you what you better do and all of that, or there's no other way to do it but our way, you know. No, we're just kind of showing you how we do things, and then you can take from that what you will and add to it what you will, or leave it all together. Or take it all together, right?
Make your own decision.
Make your own decision. But we're just showing you what we do and how things work for us here on our homestead. And so far, we don't have a lot of issues here. We do have some issues, like, you know, you're going to have some pest problems and all of that. But that's why you got to plant as much as you can, because you may run into those issues where something comes along and take out your whole tomato plant. If you ain't growing but one tomato and a tomato plant, and a bird decides to come and peck holes in all your tomatoes, maybe you should have had 3 or 4 tomato plants.
Yes.
So y'all, that's going to do it for the video. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any videos that we upload to our channel. And thank y'all again for watching Homestead Heart.
Peace and blessings. Yes, y'all.
To each and every one of you. And we will see y'all in the next video. And remember, grow your groceries. Now more than ever.
Peace.
Grow your groceries.
Grow your groceries.